Okay, boys, Redrix is here. We got a lot to talk about. We'll get right into it. I know I've been seeing some feedback saying I make long-ass intros. I apologize. Still getting used to this YouTube stuff, but we're gonna get right into it. I hope you guys do enjoy. Subscribe so you never miss out on any content. Let's get to 35,000. Guys, I've been seeing the 15% mark being pretty low on the subscriber count. Let's get that up. It would mean a lot. But none of that, let's get right into it. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a huge leak, but we're going to get into that major leak. We're also going to talk the big elephant in the room, which is that Master and Grandmaster difficulty dungeons is being hinted on and it's being spread around. Now, there's been images of Pit of Heresy receiving a Master and Grandmaster tab option, and there have also been modifiers to enter into this. I don't know if you've been experiencing it lately, if anyone is still playing Pit of Heresy. God, it's been that long that no one plays Pit of Heresy anymore. But as you can see with modifiers, there has been Pit of Heresy, Master and Grandmaster difficulty options. Now, I don't know if this is the bug. Bungie has not quoted on anything right now if that is going to be something in the later future, but it does look like something that Bungie might be tuning on. Again, we have Grandmasters already in the game, and there has been Master Mode dungeons, but how cool would it be if you could launch a Master and or a Grandmaster dungeon difficulty any day, any week, so it wouldn't be on a rotation. Definitely seems interesting. Again, we got to see what Bungie does. I would love Bungie to add more rewards, more incentives to actually get around of doing it, and maybe if you solo flawless that, you should get more emblems that are actually sick. Some of these dungeon emblems are complete shit, so if we can get some stuff there, that would be amazing. But that is also going around is that Scourge of the Past has a API tab that has been leaked and it's being out there. Now, this is going to be a huge prediction right now. Again, we have to take it with a grain of salt, but Scourge of the Past is probably my number one pick in terms of the next reprise raid. We know Bungie does looking at, or is right now in a very different spot, as Bungie has said nothing about if they're going to do a reprise raid. They have already done Salvation's Edge with Final Shape, and they already say that there will be 2 dungeons coming out in this next year. But with the new episodes revamp and with everything, we are only going to get 3 chances a year to actually get a reprise raid. And if Scourge of the Past is to be something that they're keeping, in the quiet mark, and that they are going to reveal in August, if there is a reveal, but it does look like that Scourge of the Past could be coming in Revenant. It does look like right now that they are planning to do a higher difficulty version of Scourge, and again, it would come down to being that Bungie might do a reprise raid free for all players, and then maybe reveal that a new dungeon in Revenant will come at the very end of Revenant, and then we will get Heresy with another dungeon, and that would finish off the year. Again, we got to think about this. Take it with a grain of salt. We don't know if Bungie's going to do it, but right now I think it is number one in terms of a reprise raid to come back. It was in the API for so long. It wasn't it for a whole year, basically. We said this last year before Crota was going to be the number one raid to return. It was in the API. I don't think Bungie was going to announce that it will be coming back, but it does look like now Bungie might be having it come back, and we've been missing a Fallen raid, right? I think we need a Fallen raid. We've been missing one, and I think Revenant is the best opportunity to bring it into the game. Now, we got a big leak, and this came out a couple days ago, and it's really interesting. TLDR, there is some things that, again, we should take a grain of salt within this leak, but it does confirm some things if you are intrigued about Frontiers and Destiny 3 from their perspective. Apparently, Frontiers will be the name because it's not us leaving the solar system, but it's actually a series of episodes, seasons, whatever you want to call it, of involving old content back into Destiny 2 to also help the old and new players of the game. Now, Destiny 3 and Frontiers aren't what everyone expects they are anymore. Destiny 3 is a massive engine overall to the Tiger engine to bring it up to modern standards. Now, again, we've talked about how Destiny 3 might be something we'll be down in the far line in the future. We don't know if anything will be happening with a Destiny 3 right now. It does not look like there's going to be a Destiny 3 in the next couple of years, so you can scratch that off your list in terms of that. I think it needs to be at least built upon Destiny 2 in some way, and we probably will not get it until Destiny 2 has fully finished its life cycle, and it looks like there's still a lot more to go with Destiny 2. Now, Destiny 3 is going to get this major engine overhaul that will support ray tracing, multiple optimizations, more updated tools for the devs, etc. It was originally planned to start during Beyond Light's development, but was postponed due to something that was going around the whole Earth. I don't want to name it. When Sony bought Bungie, apparently it started back up again, and it's going to be something that they are now referring as Codename Payback. And we talked about the codenames for expansions, games in the Destiny Bungie universe, whatever you want to call it. And usually these codenames are to hint of what they're making, what's their next project. And I know there's a lot of things about what's matter and what's this and what's that. And apparently for Payback, which I have been saying since I think Lightfall was a codename that has existed within Bungie, it's now being referred as that huge overhaul. It's been changed, it's been tweaked again, and we know that every other year it looks like Bungie's whole entire change in terms of what they put development towards always changes. So Payback is supposedly now going to be this overall that they're constructing for Frontiers, at least, because it was notified later in this leak the Destiny 3 sort of overhaul and Frontiers are launching at the same time. So it is very intriguing. Now there's an inside joke that Payback is actually Destiny 3. That's an inside joke, obviously. Marathon is still going to use the current version of the Tiger engine on launch, and Frontiers isn't us leaving Sol, but the code name for a series of sort of quote-unquote expansions, episodes, unvaulting old content back into Destiny 2. It's called Frontiers because we are reintroducing old destinations. What's currently planned for the reintroduction into Frontiers Part 1, again, it looks like there will be 3 parts to this, so this would maybe entitle at least somewhat of a whole 3-4 months at least, is that Mars, the Meridian Bay in particular, Venus, the Cerberus Val 3, and the Winter Run Strikes will be being reintroduced in the Destiny 2. The retelling of a Destiny 1 campaign with hints of the Dark Below and House of Wolves apparently will have their story mixed in, the original tower and the Prison of Elders. From what it looks to it now, if they just implement at least Mars and Venus and maybe some parts of the Black Garden, which they actually implemented a little bit in Season of the Wish, it looks like they can actually reconstruct Destiny 1's story. Holy shit, was that thunder? Sorry boys, there's been thunder outside my door room. That is fun. But it does look like that there is going to be some sort of a incentive to reintroduce Destiny 1's campaign, because apparently if they can reintroduce it in a more simpler way, it could be really good for new light players to come into the game. But again, like I said, Mars and Venus, if you reintroduce those and then some other little places, I think you can get Destiny 1's story to be fully finished, because we have everything else. We have Crota basically in the game, and Skolas is already in Nightmare Hunts. You can easily put him back into the game. So there you go. The current tower will be moved closer to the EDZ, while the old tower will be next to the Cosm Room in the Destinations tab. Frontiers 1 and Payback are planned to release at the same time, like I said. After Frontiers Part 1 and Payback are released, Destiny 2 will be renamed to Destiny. That is something I actually really want to happen, though, because I hate the 2. I feel like if Bungie's going to make this a new singular story, they gotta lose the 2 at this point. And there will be short story missions explaining why we are back to these old destinations in a current timeline. So you could definitely implement it in a new way, where you could return old weapons, make some new weapons, and reconstruct it to be very nice for new and old players if they do this for Frontiers, which it does look like something that they will really want to do. Now they go on more on this leak, talking about how Lightfall was sort of constructed and how Final Shape was constructed and the overall feedback from it, and they were very pleased with Final Shape and very negative with how Lightfall was between the executives and the developers. I think I really don't need to explain this anymore because it's that bad. And we are looking more at the last part of this segment of this leak, which is Gambit. Now I know Gambit has been getting a lot of, I don't know even know what it's getting a lot of. It's just Gambit, you know what I mean? It's just there. And apparently when it comes to Gambit in the far future, there will be a new game mode, a new PvEVP game mode for the core ritual playlist that will be coming into the game, and it will be replacing Gambit. Gambit won't be removed, but it's going to be sidelined for this new activity to come into the game, which I'm actually very pleased with. Starting next year, all the Gambit weapons will become craftable once all the old ritual weapons have been updated. One reason why Pathfinder was made was the devs' last attempt to increase player engagement within Gambit, and that didn't really work out so well, so Gambit will be removed from the ritual playlist in the future, and the Drift will still become the vendor for this new game mode that will replace Gambit. The devs do believe what went wrong with Gambit, and I think it's clearly obvious what the hell went wrong with that game mode. Bungie is preparing to retire Gambit from the core ritual playlist due to low player engagement. The new game mode is still in early development, and there is a new concept for the new game mode in a mix between Onslaught, Survival, and Gambit. Three teams of three try to survive endless waves of enemies with limited lives, and the last team standing wins. Now, from that concept, it does feel like it's a bit better than overall Gambit. They say that Primevals won't be present, and there's an issue. This is due because Bungie doesn't want the game mode to feel like less dependent on players needing heavy ammo and to balance PvP. And instead, it looks like they're going to have tasks, and ammo is acquired in the same way as it is in the Crucible. Players can invade the opposing team's arena and summon powerful enemies for the opposing team to fight. This looks like Onslaught, but it does look like they're implementing the PvP aspect into it, and it could work out really well. And if you take away the bosses and you more or less do objectives and maybe other things, it could be a very intriguing game, but we have to wait and see until we find out more about this. But that is a very interesting concept for the future of Gambit. But yeah, that kind of sums up the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, we talked about dungeons, we talked about Scourge of the Past maybe coming back, we talked about the huge leak for the future, and Gambit. I hope you guys did enjoy this new way of how, just getting right into the point. I really appreciate some feedback. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you all.